The simultaneous printing of so much money by all the central banks is unprecedented in history. There have been instances of money printing in the past, sometimes in numerous locations, but never have so many central banks burn through so much cash. This is exceptional during that time since there was so much borrowing and spending. I don't particularly like it because it's going to stop someday, and I've been around long enough to know that when it ends, a lot of people are going to suffer. But those are the facts whether we like them or not. All that money swirling around needs to go somewhere. I am aware that many people will endure severe suffering, and that eventually, when they run out of trees, they will run out of money to print. They will continue to do so. All of the designs are beginning to gather bubbles, are beginning to form new people, are rushing into the market, telling their friends, oh, there's this new thing called the stock market and it's so much fun. It's so easy, and you can make money, and they all rush in and then SPACs. Eventually, something happens and it comes to an end, and this will come to an end too. Despite the fact that PACs have been around for 300 years, they frequently reappear at the end of protracted bull markets. Even if I hadn't seen it before, you could still dig it up and read about it because this is not my first rodeo. This fight can force people to flee markets, central locations, and other public spaces. It always happens, and it is happening again, but it always results from doing it eventually well. Banks can change their minds once they recognize their error, halt money pruning, start boosting interest rates, and resume spending reductions. It used to be a symbol that some people used when the central bank raised interest rates 3 times. A number of causes have led this to occur in the past. 1, 2, and 3, the first time scared people. But the second and third times, the same scared people rallied. Who knows? I'm not sure if that will be the outcome this time, but I'm watching just like everyone else. Although I haven't sold out or sold short yet, I am undoubtedly concerned since I see bubbles building in many nations and asset classes. North Korea would not have been participating, but the majority of places have been doing it to one degree or another. We frequently have a correction followed by the central banks printing more money, the wild and blow-off, and then we go the other way. When things get out of hand in the market, blow-offs frequently occur. When everything simply goes up every day, it was once referred to as a blow-off, and if we have one, it probably still would be. If the central banks panic, which they might if the economy does tank, they might print more money and buy more assets since their only concern is maintaining their employment. They don't care about people like you and me. In history, blow-offs have occurred frequently. Given my current incarnation, I would anticipate one before this period is up. If you want to live, stick to what you know. Because if you don't know what you're doing when things start going wrong, you're really going to get whipsawed in all kinds of different ways. Get out if you don't understand what is occurring or what you should be doing. You don't really need to remain in the markets constantly. After all, you might miss something for a while. If something goes terribly wrong, I swear it's better to miss something temporarily than to lose everything. So if you don't know, stay away and simply stick to what you already know. Go to it if you want to jump in and out. You might use the TV or internet for this. That's not how I operate, but who knows? Let me know in the comments if you have any other questions about investing. Let's return to the video. I must continue to adhere to the market fundamentals that I have read about and seen over the years. Regarding over the years that these things do happen and that longboard markets occasionally do have blowouts, we have a lot of new people arriving, getting really excited and carried away and then doing crazy things. I've known enough people for a while. There is no doubt that America has now set off the greatest explosion in history, and it is not good. Try to judge it and try to get it right. At the end of World War II, we had significant obligations but also enormous savings that had been compelled by both the war and the slump. Since there were numerous constraints and limitations during the war, America's large savings helped offset its large debt. And since we had all of this capacity after the war, we used the savings to pay down the debt. While we don't have any savings now, we constructed a lot of factories during the war so that America had capacity savings to offset the debt. We don't have any extra space available. No, today's scenario is considerably different from that of the late 1940s. In terms of debt, we are the biggest debtor country ever. Our military is overstretched. Today, we have forces stationed in more than 100 nations, although this was unimaginable in the 1940s. Therefore, we are taking actions that could lead to difficulties down the road. They have in the past because other nations have problems too. If this is the case, the end of the American empire may be a reach, but it could definitely be the peak in the 1920s. When the UK went bankrupt 50 years after becoming the richest and most powerful nation in the world, it was not number 2. IMF was required to fly into London's airport and bail them out. Bail out the former richest and most powerful country in the world. I am aware of what will happen to us because I can see the debt outside my window. It is not getting better. On the contrary, it is growing worse, and it is undoubtedly going to get worse. I don't particularly like to admit that, but I have to face the facts. The Mississippi River will ultimately dry up and disappear. The Rocky Mountains won't collapse, and while America will still exist, it will undoubtedly be different from the UK, which is different. I am positive that inflation is occurring, and I am certain that massive money planting, which has always caused inflation throughout history, is taking place. Hence, I do anticipate inflation. Because of inflation, I'm ready. I have some gold, some silver, and I have invested in commodities. But money is the only asset class that is now affordable. Bond prices have never been this high. Bonds are a bubble. In many countries around the world, including Korea, New Zealand, and many others, there are growing property bubbles. Stocks are starting to develop some of these bubbles. The only thing that isn't a commodity is that. Sugars are down 60% from their all-time high, and many commodities are still down significantly. So far as I'm aware, that is the only region where there isn't a bubble and where prices are still reasonable. In the past, money printing has caused inflation, and if you possess items that increase in value, you may even profit greatly. There are methods to generate money if we're going to have electric automobiles, since they need a lot more copper than gasoline-powered cars do. It doesn't really matter if it's like the 1970s or not. Commodity prices have increased numerous times throughout history. If you look back through history, you'll notice that there have been extended periods when commodities have increased for a while. History typically doesn't repeat itself, but it does rhyme, of course. If you own them and they go up, you don't care what it's like. All you care is, oh my gosh, they're going up and I own them and I'm making money. Regardless of whether or not it's because we had a lot of money printing back then and a lot of excess spending. But we've never had spending like we do now. We're currently experiencing unprecedented money printing thanks to those Washington officials who keep inducing wars that fail in Afghanistan, Iraq, and Vietnam. We keep starting wars, but we end up losing and killing a lot of people. Despite receiving a lot of money, more and more men in Washington don't appear to be learning their lesson. History has shown that when nations have become overextended militarily, financially, and politically, it frequently results in major changes that aren't always for the best, though sometimes they are for the better. The Germans had a great time while the Romans didn't, when Rome became overextended and began to decline and collapse. Hope you have learned something from this video. What are your thoughts? Comment down below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to click the like button and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell for you to be updated on our latest videos. See you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Want to learn more and be more financially literate? Click on the next videos we have in our channel, showing on the screen right now.